All right, we're gonna see the hypocrite Democrats value baby animals more than baby humans. I believe this is another critique of them trying to reverse the concepts of not being pro-abortion or being not pro-life. Sorry, not pro-abortion. And so they are trying to sell this concept of just mass reproduction of human beings. They believe it's the preferred way to life, and that any abortion is technically a murder on a human, punishable by prison or death. Fascinating perspective. We're going to see how they protect their idea of culture, their idea of the concepts of it. Looks like they're comparing it to animals because people, like a lot of humans, like to associate their pet or an animal that looks completely different species. By the way, they'll value the animal more than they value the human being. So we're going to see how she contrasts this conversation for what they believe is a truly justified debate on human life versus the animal.
When you see these photos of the aborted rat fetuses.
I'm angry that about the treatment of animals.
So what do you feel when you see this photo? Does it make you angry?
No, it's a choice.
I don't know, it's a woman's right to do what they want, so
This photo doesn't bother you?
no.
But the aborted rat fetuses bothered you?
Yeah.
Why?
They seemed unnecessary because it wasn't for a good reason.
It is wrong to cause a sentient being to suffer pain. All
Absolutely.
animals are sentient beings. They have life. They have the right to live.
What is this photo I'm
Yeah,
showing
it's
you?
about people choosing to plan their family. Women should have the right to choose their autonomy, their bodily autonomy.
It's
Okay.
their bodies and they can do whatever they want with
Do you care where these animals are going right here?
Yes, because they don't have a choice.
We're here today at an Earth Day festival asking animal rights activists what upsets them more, a photo of chickens about to be slaughtered or a photo of people about to be slaughtered. Let's go. What do you feel when you see this photo?
Well, I feel severe anger. I actually became a vegetarian when I was 24, and I'm 48 now because of farm factory industry and the slaughter practices that happen. I think that people should be enraged, and I think that it's important that people shop with their their dollar and pay attention to the organizations that they're buying from, because there are
Absolutely.
organizations that are more humane with how they treat animals.
Furthermore, there's things like this happening. These are rat fetuses that were aborted out of their mother so they could be experimented on. And did you know that was happening?
No, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel when you see these photos of the aborted rat fetuses?
I mean, I think that
Are you disgusted?
yeah, I'm angry that about the treatment of animals. So it's not about the abortion. It's about how the rat lives, how it's treated, how it meets its fate at the end of its life. So
Right.
yeah.
To be experimented on, and you know.
It's gross.
So, what do you feel when you see this photo?
I feel like women are going into a clinic.
Does it make you angry?
No, it's a choice.
Choice to do what?
Choice to end a.
What?
Hey, Gabe.
What are you doing?
A choice to end what?
It's a choice. It's a choice that women have
To do what?
to have. It's a right to medical health care. It's a right.
So the comparison started off rather poorly, in my opinion, because the actual notion she was pushing toward the animal cruelty was testing on the fetus and testing on life itself, whereas the abortion is just ending a life of what they see could have been in order to preserve the life that it was the person that had the child, so they could have the right to be able to live a life how they see, because aborting a child is not bad since a woman can still reproduce again. And the concept of experimenting on the fetus is this idea where if a human went through the same thing as this animal did, then the human, to have an equal one-for-one conversation, would have to have their fetus grown in some lab and then experimented on for science, which is the wrong part. The choice of abortion is clearly a woman's choice. She could do what she wants with her body. However, the choice with the rats to try and guilt someone in that They're guilting the concept of the manipulation of life in order to enact some scientific end sum to the equation of what to do with this now living being, which is a rat, which of course most humans just kill with rat traps, poisons, and extermination is pest control. So her comparison is trying to find the hypocrisy of more simple-minded people, so that these simple-minded people can get stuck in a gotcha moment, or we caught you in this little twist of a narrative in order to sell you this idea of being pro-life, to sell their ideology and ship it to them, and try and associate rat life with human life in order to have some sort of equality of understanding all life is precious. But no human believes all life is precious. We eat meat, we eat veal, we eat the concepts of what we critique in human form, because the animal is still a completely separate entity than a human being. Some of these animals cannot even understand pain and interpret it, because a fish can feel pain, but no one has once questioned the cruelty of a fish when you catch it on a hook, put it in a bucket, and then eat it later. It's the concept of human life being superior to other life forms on this planet, because animals are still separate than us. Now, granted, torture is wrong, torturing animal life is wrong. However, to experiment on them for an end sum goal, to accelerate science, is the reason why we have animal experimentation to begin with. It's why we oftentimes say human trials or the human experimentation requires multiple layers of testing in order to see any wrongdoing that could potentially happen, like mutations in between the human and the other animals, so that we can prevent the mutation when we see the scientific DNA or the enactment of molecules acting the wrong way chemically. So it never happens in a human, and humans don't start to have their face melt off, or the concepts of any other wrongdoings of genetic mutations. This is why this is an improper comparison between the animal and the human being, because the human being has sentience, and sentience is being able to conjure thoughts, create their own understanding of reality through creative problem solving, but also memory, ancestors through DNA. The DNA structures give us this innate ability of understanding reality to a small extent of a percentage, and then the human brain incorporates all reality to create the personality or characteristics that we are as a human, which is why this concept of comparison is why in science we have multiple layers, from the rat to eventually the chimpanzee or even the orangutan, and in between probably like dogs and cats, in order to understand the different biological applications. Since human beings are an apex predator to all of them, we innately have a lot of miniature chemical constructions and DNA structures that can be experimented on small scales in order to enact what we see as a more humane experimentation. So when there's a humane experimentation, it's at the minimal, most smallest level of wrongdoing, so nothing bad could potentially happen. This is why this comparison is a political science discussion and not a scientific one, since science has been experimenting with animals since the beginning of our founding and the beginning of our very creation, because we experimented with taming animals, we experimented with trusting horses, we experimented with the idea that some rats can be kept under control as an experiment, and other rats are wild rats that we kill as vermin and poison and kill off, because poisoning them may have negative effects also on our environment, like birds eating the poison and dying as a consequence of eating the rat. Which is why we experiment in controlled environments, and we experiment with controlled thinking patterns, so we can get a proper association of all these algorithms and equations that have no end sum yet. And so we start with small equations like a rat who's much tinier than a human, much less complex than our brain's neural network. And so the equation itself is smaller, so when we expand on it and get a bigger, more complex creature, we can have a more adequate, equal sum or end result, so that it's more seen as a humane option, and more scientifically applications can be had with it, rather than just leaving it out entirely and then finding out human beings got the first half of their equation ignored when we could have used animals during that process, which no one really cares about too much. And then we can reach the human stage where we care about all humans, and then all humans can start to enact what we call the genetic mutation of humanity, which is more fair, more logical, and it's considered more in tune with mRNA or vaccinations. Because if we went too fast into vaccinations without experimenting on the animal trials, we run the risk of exterminating entire bloodlines, or certain people with conditions, certain people with certain traits within their body that evolved from the environment that some people may have in small portions than others, which are known as health defects. Which is why this comparison is mainly an emotional comparison, so that she can apply this concept that everyone's a hypocrite and cares more about animals than they do human beings.
To an abortion.
What happens to those babies?
they're aborted, and you know what happens to those babies.
Yeah. How
And
do you
it's legal
feel?
in the United States, and it should be legal in the United States.
But doesn't it make you angry when that happens to humans? But why are animals more important than humans, ma'am? These are rat fetuses that were aborted from a mother rat to be experimented on to see the effects of essential oil.
Seems very unnecessary.
Unnecessary, right?
Yeah, it looks awful. Like,
Yeah, and they killed the mother too.
oh, no.
They were
shouldn't
20,
have.
20 days old. Let me ask you this. How do you feel when you see this photo?
That, I don't know, it's a woman's right to do what they want, so
This photo doesn't bother you,
no.
but the aborted rat fetuses bothered you?
Yeah.
Why?
They seemed unnecessary because there wasn't for a good reason.
What good reason would these women have to go abort their children?
It depends on their situation. I don't know. It's not, that would be up to them.
So what upsets you more, the rat fetuses that were aborted or the fetuses that are about to be aborted here in this photo?
The rat fetuses.
Why so? Explain that to me.
Just because it didn't seem like there was a good cause for it.
We're asking you more, the rat fetuses that were aborted or the fetuses that are about to be aborted here in this photo?
The rat fetuses.
Why so? Explain that to me.
Just because it didn't seem like there was a good cause for it.
We're asking people to look at some images of what's happening to life
Yeah,
in this country.
That's a great question because life is all interconnected between human, animals, and nature.
Absolutely.
And all animals are sentient beings. They have life. They have the right to live. And when we live veganism, we are putting that kindness and compassion into action. Because as you know, talk is cheap, but our actions speak louder than our words.
Absolutely.
But we're also being kind to the animals and also kind to the nature. So
How do
please
you
consider going
feel
vegan.
when you see this photo of the
Yeah,
chicken?
this is a very abhorring. This is torture to the sentient beings. And chickens, when they get to know you, they purr like cats. But we love dogs and cats, but we torment the chicken. And do you know that seitan, jackfruit, eggplant, mushrooms, tofu with some herbs and spices can easily taste like chicken. So we can
Yeah.
easily replicate the taste.
And then
of
there's
that.
pigs going into the slaughterhouse. They're experimenting on beagles.
Yeah.
I wanted you to say to the audience, how do you feel when you see these images?
Yeah, it's very shocking. You know, we normalize this violence, and then when we consume violence, we have stress, we have high cortisol, we have prone to heart disease, diabetes, and cancer.
This right here is a rat fetus that they were experimenting on. So they did an abortion on a rat mother and to experiment on her fetuses. Have you even heard of anything like that before?
Yeah, this is very common practice to do experimentation on dogs and or
On
cats,
fetuses,
on
like
fetuses, yeah.
like perform abortions on them, and
Yeah, but
I
we
mean,
now
if you
have
could look at the camera,
technology, we
tell me
now-
how terrible that is. Like,
Yeah,
what is the injustice?
It is wrong because it is wrong to cause a sentient being to suffer pain. And now we have technologies, we have organs on a chip so that you can experiment. We have artificial intelligence, we have CRISPR. So we have the technology to not have these experiments on sentient being, but we can simulate these models and learn from that.
What do you think about this photo? If you watch Liberty Hangout, you already know this isn't just about culture, it's about power. We spend a lot of time on the street talking to keep it. What do you think about this photo?
Yeah, we need to be consistent that because we
Well,
humans.
what is this photo I'm showing
it's
you?
about people choosing to plan their family.
Well,
So-
what's going on here?
Let me finish answering it. So we humans have an agency that we can plan our life. So we humans have the ability to either give birth to a sentient being or say no to a birth to a sentient being. So women should have the right to choose their autonomy, their bodily autonomy.
Well,
So
well,
hang on a
well,
second.
what's going on
so
here?
we need to say wrong to forceful impregnation and slaughter of sentient beings. That's our job of having that empathy and consistency into action. When we say no to animal slaughter, when we say no to rape and murder of sentient beings, we're living an ethical life. So I hope you find some decency and kindness in your heart and go vegan. Peace.
Well, what about the abortion clinic, sir? What about those sentient beings? Okay, all right. So we're just walking away when we're confronted with this type of slaughter that's going on here. Interesting times. What do you think about this photo and what's happening
I think they are
here?
beautiful.
What's beautiful about this?
The women.
And where are they going into?
I don't care.
Can you
where they're
read?
going into. I don't care where they're going. I don't. It's
Okay.
their bodies,
Okay.
and they can do whatever they want with
Do you care where these animals are going right here? Do you care where these animals are going?
them. Yes, because they don't have a choice.
Okay.
The
Do
women
these
have
chil-
a choice.
Do these babies in the womb have a choice about where they're about to go?
How do you know that those people are going to have an abortion?
So these women are pregnant and they're going into an abortion clinic. What
You're doing
happens
it
in abortion
again, my
clinics?
darling. You see, the thing is, I don't care what happens in abortion clinics.
But
I
you
have
care what
never
happens
been
in
to an
slaughterhouses for
abortion-
cows.
I've been to a slaughterhouse.
And you care about what happens there.
I care what happens there because they are not able to make their own decisions. When a woman
these
can
children
make her
able to
own
make their-
those women are way too pregnant to be having an abortion
Why?
because it's a stupid idea. You can't have an abortion at that. Like
Yes, you
it
can.
looks like.
Yes, you can.
Yes, if there's
Yeah.
a problem with the mother.
Nope.
If the mother is going to die.
What's
or
this
if there is
photo?
I don't care what that photo is.
Just so you guys know, I'm not going to show the audience. This is a 7-week-old baby who was aborted violently, and you see their little fingers sitting on a quarter.
How do you know?
This is a baby at 22 weeks. Have you
How
ever
do you
seen that?
So she's using the pain and suffering concept to guilt you into the concept that you murdered or killed a human being and then compared that same human being to an animal. The equation here is not adequate. It's not a truly answerable equation. You don't care this much for a human being after that baby has been brought to life, and then after 18 years old, they end up an alcoholic or they crash their car, someone shoots them dead. Well, murder is bad. But if they make the bad decision, a lot of people will shame that person and tell that person they died because of their own decisions, granted. But the decision of the mother is her body, risking death, giving birth to this child, risking a whole lifestyle change, which is a trajectory of someone's life heading toward a career, a successful education, a new man who's more adequate, and supplying themselves with a better life, and then trying to say that is superseded by sexual activity of which you had, which resulted in a pregnancy, which that pregnancy, of course, is more valued than the woman who is already educated, who's already grown up and an adult, establishes themselves as a sentient human who can make their own decisions, and then trying to guilt that person into having a child just because they had intercourse with another partner, and then that partner has to now be guilted into keeping this responsibility of raising a human life that could change their lives forever because it doesn't always add to a good end sum. Each equation of a human being can be subtracted from and added to in order to better their life or worsen it. And then she's trying to equate that you should add this variable and coefficient to your life, a human being, one human being, multiplied by the variable of which that variable is going to multiply continuously throughout your life for allegedly 18 years, unless you have a man child or a woman child, which you take care of them past 18, which some cultures take care of their kids longer because they wait for them to get actually established to survive society. Other people stop at 18 and kick them out the house. And now you're trying to tell them that it's their fault that happened, and now you have this profound responsibility, like you're a murderer for accepting the fact you don't want to change your whole life for the concept of one intercourse session, to which is now guilting you into murder charges or making you seem as a lesser human being because it had happened. Now, granted, guilt tripping through emotional turmoil is cowardice, because if you really understood what it meant to be alive, each person you guilt into having that child, you will not be there to support that child, especially in this country. We don't support our children of this nation in order to be uplifted in the best conditions. A lot of them get thrown into orphanages that are subpar, not giving them all the resources. We have impoverished neighborhoods, which are not getting the same resources of education and standards of care. And so it's a falsehood of actual care, especially from the government standpoint, that a lot of these people are forcing the government in order to enact this mass reproduction that not even the government wants to feed because they say EBT or healthcare is burdensome in our system. And so having that child would be arguably a bad choice by even a professional, adequate, humane perspective, because you would not be able to take care of them. That child will have a negative start, a negative coefficient, and a negative variable of which is the survival of the environment. And you may be actually raising a criminal or someone who never adds to our economy to begin with, because they would be thrown away and now given to society as something to be burdened with, which is where homeless populations can come from. Some people have a lot of disabled people there because they don't take on the task of taking care of them the whole time. And not everyone's ready to take care of a disabled person. Not everyone's ready to take care of a child in general, because you can have an able-bodied person who's treated worse than a disabled person because the disabled person has a family that actually cares for them, whereas the person with an able body may be thrown away and thrown into homelessness, into a lesser state of being. And so the abortion would have prevented the human from existing, granted, but the environment where they're being born in is one of which the government doesn't even care to take care of the children. So even if you wanted to give up your child to adoption, or even to a situation where government could take care of them, that child is still going to be subjugated to be abandoned, to starve to death, or potentially be killed by the environmental conditions to which not even the government's prepared to give as an adequate measure to the people. So, if you understand math and you understand the trajectories of these people, you would understand not everyone is an adequate parent. Not everyone is going to want to be there for their kid. Not everyone's going to be able to give them love and care and respect. Some people may even victimize their children, and so they shouldn't even have children. And so some people take it upon themselves to wear protection, to put themselves in responsible situations, to sometimes even not even talk or interact with the women at all, or men, because they already know their lifestyle is adequate to themselves. And so they oftentimes bring up this guilt trip that you are responsible for now this intercourse of which you had, which of course is your choice, your body. And now they're trying to demand you to take care of this child, because now this government has this artificial understanding that they don't even want to pay for the kid themselves, like a deadbeat father, that they themselves would abandon that child eventually because their responsibilities would also run out, and they wouldn't even care about the end goal of that person, because that person would only be taken care of out of this moral guilt. And then once the moral guilt runs out, you kill them off by environmental means, which is hegemonic execution. There are kill lines, places where poor people and homeless people beg for food. Why is that seen as bad to abort a child if you know for a fact you're not going to be there for that child, or you're just not ready for a child at all, and you can raise that same child through your DNA, you can mix it with a better spouse or a better partner, and then you can create a more better human being that you will take care of and be responsible for. You can replicate that same lessons of that child into an adult human without reproducing. It's called education. And when you replicate that education, you impress your brain onto that person through mathematics, education of English. General education is what we call it. Eventually, that education is going to start to adequately reproduce your very sentience into them. And you'll reproduce again because you will speak with these people and you will share information with them. And you will impression on their character, on their being, and they will change their course of who they are. I do not see why abortion is bad. I see it as something that's an equation that is fair to subtract, because you're not killing a baby. You're killing before the baby even becomes aware of its surroundings, before it's even breathing or speaking a potential of learning from its environment, because it's not even escaped the concept of your human body. And so to persecute a woman based on this child in her belly is the same to persecute a man for the sperm in his balls, his testicles. Every time he uses it, he's slaughtering thousands, if not millions, of human beings. It's ridiculous to hold this weird standard up to women, but you don't hold it up to men when they waste their seed. That's biblical, sure, but we are secular as a society. And many societies don't even believe in your God, they believe in science. Which, of course, science means that the heart and the being of which it comes with will start to be impressioned by its environment. A human being is not an environment when it's inside of you. The environment is outside of you, to which it impressions through oxygen, external germs, and then it's no longer being filtered by the human, which is their body, their choice, and now has been given life into this existence to be impressioned by the earth itself, the environment of life. Therefore, when life starts to impression on it, the life begins. Because it's writing its history and its codex, its LLM, of its learning language module, in order to finally build its sentience being, that it's now being educated individual, to which it will have to live its life out until it decides its fate. Abortion is not bad. It's scientifically not bad. After birth, you cannot choose to abort it. That's murder. Because it's existing, it's written its code in. It's starting to activate its mathematical equations in its mind in order to breathe on its own, so it's no longer using its mother's oxygen. It's no longer dependent on the body. And now it's externalized to be dealing with the real world.
Oh, yes, quite a lot.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I think it's messy.
Messy.
Mm-hmm.
But would you fight to make it illegal to do this to these?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it's not my choice. I have never been pregnant. I don't want to be pregnant. I adopted children.
Explain to the camera what you're looking at.
I am looking at a very rude woman who refuses to take no for an answer.
This is a 22-week-old baby fetus in the womb that was aborted violently with drugs and forceps.
Honestly, who hurt you?
The abortion industry hurts women.
Well, if that's, then why are you not attacking them?
Why do you care less about
Why
this
are you not
person
attacking
than
them?
you do chickens going into the slaughterhouse?
I care about everybody, but I don't know who that person is. I don't know why that happened to them. I do know why the animals are taken into a slaughterhouse.
Why?
So you can eat them.
Okay, and why are children being aborted and tortured and torn apart like that photo I showed you?
I don't know that they are.
They are.
Well,
The child cannot feel pain in the fetus in its form of its belly. It's not sentient to feel the pain. It is not alive and aware. You cannot interview and hold this microphone up to a fetus and ask it how it felt. It's very, very, very rare that you have this concept that a fetus can suddenly have this protest or discussion with you. It is non-scientific. Now, granted, there can be off cases where people, and they say the child was awoken inside the womb. That's very rare because even that's in question. That's debated within science very heavily because they don't believe it's even its concept to interpret its data. Its data itself is something that you're going to have to understand later in life. It has to understand what it went through. If you introduce a new equation of pain, it won't know what pain is. When a baby's given birth, you can argue that air itself is painful to it because it just had all its body form shape dislocated its muscles and its bones, not its muscles, its bones from its body, and then reformed on the other side, which sometimes it results in broken bones. Birth itself is painful. It doesn't know its pain. Nobody in the majority of society can remember being given birth to, and even then it's spotty. It's not guaranteed every second after birth. So this concept is it doesn't have the data to understand or problem solve what it's going through. This is why it's humane to keep a baby alive after birth, but before birth it is barely even existing because its existence is only on the mechanical operation of a human being, which is a heart, a lungs, a brain, and maybe some fluid in its body, to which even that is questionable in society because we have to sometimes do emergency abortions to save the woman from dying because the child is stillborn, or maybe it is still alive, but they have to choose between the woman or the child, and the woman can still give birth, and if she becomes sterile, that's unfortunate. But again, to kill a woman just for the sake of a baby is again up to the woman's choice. It's not a society that builds itself on caring about people's pain when you barely even care about humane pain at the homeless situation, the lack of health care for people, the lack of respecting other people's culture, and the idea of shooting someone dead in self-defense as being a right, and then even using that as a way to murder people through racism or through hatred. The idea of fixing this pain is something that has to come from an adult perspective first, because you cannot start addressing what would be a non-sentient fetus in accordance to what we already ignore the pain of the sentient adult. You cannot do that pain math. It does not adequate. It does not equal. She's guilt tripping people, and it's a ridiculous notion. It's unscientific. It's biblical because it's in accordance to a poetic scripture that is in accordance to people's religious beliefs, not in accordance to the scientific beliefs.
I don't know that.
You do know that.
No, I don't. I literally do not know anything about that. It is not my
I
lane.
just showed you a photo of that.
Sweetheart, I can show you a picture of the Loch Ness Monster if you want. Give me a second, but that's not
Do
going to
you
mean
think that
it's
this
real.
is fake?
Yes. How should I know? I don't know if any of those are real. I don't know if any.
Can you believe women and just believe me?
No.
Let's pretend that it is real.
Okay, let's pretend it's real.
Shouldn't this be illegal?
I think that whoever has done this particular picture has staged it sort of badly.
PETA, how are you? Give your spiel to our audience. Tell us why they should support PETA and donate.
Well, what are you about?
I'm about free speech.
Okay.
And I am against abusing animals.
That's awesome.
Would you look at the camera and give your spiel to convince them? I don't have any more room to hold anything.
Okay.
But could you look at the camera?
No, but you can go on our website at PETA.org to find out
What does
you need to
PETA
know.
stand for?
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
Okay.
But have a good day. Good luck.
What do you think about this treatment of an
Have
animal?
a good day. Good luck.
Yeah. What does anybody want to have any say about these aborted fetuses of rats being experimented on? Is this wrong?
Please have a great day.
What does it scream to you?
I mean, cruelty. It just, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy way to say it.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you look at this photo right here?
Fine. Feel okay.
You don't want to cry over this?
Well, I am thinking to myself that most likely they are not there for an abortion if they're that far along.
Well, what if they are?
I'm one of those people who believes that it's their choice to do it. So,
But is it our choice to treat chickens like this and abuse them?
well, they don't choose what's happening to them.
Do the
These
babies
ladies do.
choose? Do the babies choose what's happening to them?
No, they don't. No.
Doesn't that make you sad?
Well, of course it does. Yeah. This is not something that I personally would do, but I don't think that it's my right to tell other people what.
Do you have the right to tell someone not to abuse their chickens and abuse their cows?
I mean, I would prefer that they did it.
Yeah. But if you saw it happening, you'd say, don't do that.
Sure.
But if you saw a woman going to abort her child, you would feel, she has every right to do that.
Well, again, I'm inclined to say that a very large amount of people would not be that pregnant and going into.
It's about 4,000 people a year.
Mhm.
Yeah, going for late-term abortions, and that's just what's recorded back to us because not every state is required
Sure.
to do that.
Sure.
Does that bother you?
I'm not comfortable talking about this anymore.
Does it bother you?
Asking this question is bothering me.
Well, why does it bother you less when it's happening to people than when it's happening to beagles and chickens and cows?
I'm not saying that it doesn't bother me, but I feel like you're doing kind of a bait and switch here, and I don't want to get into this.
I'm just testing your consistency for the audience. How do you feel when you see this? Like they're bloodied and
I don't have to see it to feel really dreadful about how we treat our poultry. They're never ever cages their whole life.
exactly.
They're used just as almost
It's sad.
an animal. They don't even treat them as animals.
Yeah, they're like sub-animal. They're being treated below animals, right? These are more photos. These are pigs headed to the slaughterhouse. This is a beagle being experimented on. I mean, just what's your gut telling you about this?
Just obviously, I think just generally animals need to be treated more humanely. We seem to think that just because we're going to eat them, we don't need to treat them humanely up to that point.
How do you feel when you see this photo?
devastated
Why does that devastate you?
because of how we've allowed the current legislature to take that away from women. We have fought for it.
Oh, it says keep abortion illegal.
Yeah.
So you feel devastated not because of what's about to happen to the children, but you feel devastated that this is illegal?
I feel devastated that abortion is not a choice for women anymore.
Have you ever seen this happen to people?
I don't know what to say about that.
You had a lot to say about the chickens. What do you say about this 22-week-old fetus that was aborted?
I find that disgustingly and horrible, but why do you even show that to people?
Because behind me, you have a sign that says keep abortion legal. And when I showed you women in the 3rd trimester going to an abortion clinic, you were sad that this has become illegal here in Florida. This is what you want.
They did not have a choice in an early stage.
Well, what about this photo? How does this make you feel?
I'm not even going to comment because I think you're putting words in people's mouths, so I think you should leave.
Well, in your words, what upsets you more, this photo of an abortion or what happens to chickens? And what good cause would be to do this to a human?
She gotta work. Let her work, please.
It would, like I said, it would depend on that woman's circumstances.
Maybe she just didn't want to be pregnant anymore.
Maybe she didn't choose to be pregnant in the first place.
Well, what if she just didn't? Maybe she did choose to be pregnant and she decided she didn't want to be anymore. Does that bother? How do you feel when you see that photo?
I mean, that looks awful because it's blood and just looks gross. But
Right. That looks gross, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. This baby is 22 weeks gestated. That's an abortion. That's the reality of what's happening out here when women go into abortion clinics. How do you feel when you see that?
I mean, it saddens me.
Okay.
Because I don't feel like that. It's sad for the baby.
It is sad for the baby?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you feel more sad, seeing the chickens and the cows or this baby?
The baby, because it's a human.
Right. So does this person deserve legal protections under our law?
I think it depends on the timing of when the abortion happens and if they're a baby, or depends on the timing.
Have you ever seen this before?
No,
You've never seen what an abortion is.
not like that.
What upsets you more? What happens to chickens or what happens to people?
I am a nurse. I know that's a lie.
Okay.
I know that most abortions, 96%, are when the fetus is this big.
Yeah.
This is a Photoshop.
I have a photo of that too, right here.
Yeah.
Now, actually, Debbie says to not talk to any other people right now, please.
Okay.
What's her
Words in your mouth.
You don't want to be misunderstood.
Oh, I don't want to misunderstand you. You're okay with abortion?
Yeah, so you see this place, she's pretty much known already. Word's gone around that she's very annoying. She's trying to push her own propaganda, her own ideology. No one wants to listen to her spiel because the association of an animal and a human is something that only white supremacists have done in the 60s, because they're trying to associate an animal as getting the equal care as a human being, which if you look at the era of the 1960s where we were seen as 3/5 of a human for being colored or a person other than white, you would see that the adequate judgment of this woman is to ignore her propaganda, because it is racially stimulating of the ideology of seeing race or certain humans as lesser or animalistic, and of course to have sympathy for animals and that humans as a separate thing is not seen as racist or bigoted, but to associate a human as equal to that is, and that's why associating a fetus is sort of her self-admittance. She has sympathy for this idea of an animal being respected. She wouldn't actually be comparing it to a fetus, because if she was, she believes that those animals should also be cared for. And if she doesn't believe those animals should be cared for, but the fetus should as well, then she's a vegan in the making. So her own argument is something she doesn't believe in. It's something she puts in front of you to make you look bad, but herself does not see that as her cultural belief system to begin with. It's just a bait for an ambush for ridiculous conversation of a gotcha moment.
Abortions happening that look like this?
Here you go. That's a lie.
Please
So you're not okay with it?
Okay. Thank you.
I want to get your words for what they are. You have a sign here that says keep abortion legal,
Safe and legal.
but you're okay with this. I'm not even going to show the camera because it's so gruesome. Oh, you don't want to look at it. Isn't that funny? You don't want to look at this. And this is what you won't look at, what you want to keep legal? Look at it, ma'am. Why not?
Because it's a lie.
This isn't what abortion does? Prove me wrong. This is a 7-week-old fetus that was aborted. You can see the hands. What am I looking at?
I don't know what you're looking at, but I don't know what that's photoshopped with. I'm not talking to you. And you're very aggressive, and I don't want to talk to you, and you're very wrong. And I'm sorry to see a woman, so deluded. It's sad.
How am I deluded?
That's it.
You guys have keep abortion legal outside your tent, and you won't even look at what you support. You won't even look at it. You put your hand up. This is a 7-week-old baby in the womb. You can see their fingers, their bloodied fingers, guys. What? I am just appalled right now. I'm literally appalled. And then they have a sign that says stop racism now. Guess where Planned Parenthood puts their abortion facilities? Inside black communities. 400,000 black children are aborted every single year.
This woman does not care about black people at all. She has multiple videos critiquing the concepts of black people, as well as trying to Uncle Tom a lot of black people to pretend like she cares. She's playing just pure emotion off people. It's a really, really tricky situation because she's clearly the pro-Trump side, which is the pro-conservative side, which oftentimes tries to encourage an ethno-state of white only by encouraging deportation of different races and cultures in order to solidify a one-race society. So her arguments, again, with the animals are suspicious because she just went into comparing animals to fetuses to talking about black people. So I remember earlier where I said these people oftentimes reenact a lot of the KKK and old white supremacy ethno-states. This is what I'm talking about very clearly.
And black women only make up about 6% of our population in America. Stop racism, but boy, we want to keep it legal to kill them before they're even born. What a shame. What a shame you guys are out here advocating for this and you won't look at it. Disgusting and shameful. All right. Okay, we're good. Now we've got enough. Are you anti-abortion yet?
So I think that like my focus is on animals, primarily farmed animals raised for so-called food, because most people, including you, are participating in this every single day, multiple times a day.
Right.
I don't really, I have 3 children. My youngest are 3 and 1.
Beautiful.
So like I'm not having abortions. If I was, I wouldn't be doing it every day. But like the majority of people are participating in this completely unnecessary violence.
What's more important?
I don't think it's a matter of what's more important.
What's more important, that this is happening to people or that this is happening to cows? Which is more important?
So I think that all life is important.
Okay,
and
so you are anti-abortion.
So I think that all life is important, and I think that we should all do our best to not participate in unnecessary exploitation, violence, and killing to the best of our abilities.
So you're anti-abortion? Are you pro-life?
I don't discuss my other beliefs because
these are people.
So many people. Yeah, but
you're
like
pro-life. Could you just look at the camera? Tell us what you think of. Are you pro-life? Are you proud to say that?
We are animals too.
So are you pro-life?
Why are you not vegan yet is my question.
Why aren't you anti-abortion?
If you are pro-life, why are you not vegan yet?
Yeah, I never said I was pro-life. I'm anti-abortion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not pro-life?
I'm anti-abortion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you anti-abortion?
So Caitlin, because
it's a yes or no.
I mean, for me, it's not, because I'm a vegan animal rights and liberation activist, and there's a lot of division over all different controversial topics.
Yeah.
So I typically don't speak about my religious beliefs, my political beliefs.
This isn't a religious belief.
But I typically don't speak about any controversial topics unless they directly relate to non-human animals.
You get upset when animals are treated in this terrible, gruesome, violent way, but you look at a human being and you're going to tell me...
I'm looking at a picture right now. There's no human being.
This is a picture of a human being.
Yes, it is. Maybe. I don't know.
And what condition are they in?
I have no idea.
Tell the camera what condition this person is in.
I have no idea what condition they're in. I don't know.
You were in denial. You were in straight up denial. So you were the organizer. Your name is Malila.
Yes.
Vegetarians of Central Florida. They cannot sit here and even recognize what a 22-week... Of what?
I don't know, baby. I have no idea.
It's a 22-week-old fetus
You wrote
who
the word
was
22
violently
weeks on it.
aborted. Okay,
How do you believe?
Do you believe this photo?
Do I believe that that looks like chickens? Or hens?
You were in such
Or-
denial. This is so
Yeah,
sad.
I have no idea how old they are.
Basically, just showing you photos of really basic photos of hens and chickens on their way to be slaughtered.
Yeah.
How does it feel? How do you feel when you see this photo of what they're about to do and how they're treating these animals?
I mean,
Obviously
I've
not good. No one feels good about it.
no.
No. You can't.
Right. These are more photos of what's going on to animals, and this is all legal. These are pigs about to be sent to slaughter. They'll be in a gas chamber,
Yeah.
and they'll literally be killed from the inside out.
Wow.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Did you guys know this was happening?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You know
Okay,
about
so you
that.
guys are aware.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then
I think
what?
we're all pretty aware of the issue at hand.
Absolutely.
However, presenting a valuable solution is quite difficult these days.
Absolutely.
But
What do you guys think about these people going into a slaughterhouse?
I think this is an abortion clinic. Not the same as a slaughterhouse.
Oh, how not?
Well, I mean, I don't know exactly what you mean by that question, but
Well, what happens in an abortion clinic?
I don't think it's a slaughterhouse.
yeah. I
Okay,
think
what would you
people
guys call it?
People just an abortion
clinic.
clinic. Yeah.
Okay, what happens in an abortion clinic?
You-
Typically, people, they perform abortions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we call that?
Uh,
Rid of unwanted pregnancies.
Unwanted. Yeah. How do you feel looking at this photo?
totally normal.
That's not how women go into abortion clinics. You can never get an abortion that late in pregnancy.
Yes, you can.
Not legally.
Yes, you can.
That late in pregnancy, she's at
Yeah.
least 7 months.
You can. Yeah, you can go to California or you can go to New York. You can just cross state lines and get one. You could actually go up to Canada, and they have unrestricted access to abortion no matter what.
That's Canada's issue.
For sure. But anyway, we actually have
Well,
places to go.
why doesn't this make you sad, but the chickens and the cows make you sad?
Yeah,
Sir,
that's,
could you answer the
that's all
question?
good. No, I'm okay.
Why do you care more about animals than humans?
I am not afraid. I will live for liberation, 'cause I know why I was made. I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I will fight for love and justice, 'cause I know why I was made.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
We're doing a very powerful video right now where we're asking people, how do they feel when they see how animals are treated?
I gotta keep going.
I'll walk with you. I'll walk with you. Oh, you're a female priest. Okay.
Cause I know why
As a female priest, what do you think about this photo?
I'm not afraid. I am not. I'm right in the middle of doing this.
What do you think about this? A female priest, what do you think?
Justice, cause I know why I was made.
Hey, you're too handsome to act like this, okay? That mustache was not meant for this. I would love a female priestess to denounce abortion. What do you guys think about this?
I know why I was made.
Yeah, I know. She said, what's a female priest? We're all asking the same question. What the hell is a female priest? It doesn't exist. She's literally cosplaying. These people, a bunch of cosplayers here today. That's incredible. That's what's happening at 7 weeks. Describe to the camera. I'm not going to show them. What do you see here?
I can't really tell what it is. It just looks bloody.
That's a baby's
Yeah.
arm.
Okay. Yeah.
And it fits inside of a quarter.
Tiny, yeah.
Yeah. So when I showed you the photo of the women going to the abortion clinic, you told me it doesn't bother you at all because it's their right to do that. After seeing these photos, has your mind changed at all?
No, I still think it's a woman's right to make that decision, but I think it, depending on the timing of when that's happening and their pregnancy.
Well, is it a human's right to abuse an animal or send them to a gas chamber?
No.
So why isn't it a right for a human to do that to an animal, but it's a human's right to do it to another human?
It, like I said, it just depends on the timing of it. So there's a
Anytime,
difference.
at any time.
Well, there's a difference between what stage of the pregnancy they're in.
At what point is it not a human?
I don't know that much because I'm not a scientist.
You know,
so
I
I don't
showed
know.
you the rat fetuses, and that bothered you quite a bit, right?
Like I said, because of the purpose of it, it didn't seem, if they were testing it to cure cancer, versus an essential oil, it would be different.
Okay. In what circumstances would you be okay with them doing what I showed you in the photos to people?
Like I said earlier, in a pregnancy, or if there was, depends on like the person was raped, that's a specific reason, or I mean, there's other legitimate reasons. There's a health concern for the mother's life. There's just depends. There's a lot of different situations.
They killed 36,500 pigs there a day. Most of them are 6 months old, more intelligent, more socially and emotionally complex than cats and dogs.
Sure.
More intelligent than 3 and 4-year-old human children.
Sure.
They are being rendered unconscious. At this facility, 90 to 95% of the pigs in our country, but at this facility, they're being rendered unconscious in a gas chamber.
Okay.
We can hear them screaming from the gas chambers.
I've seen the videos. It's gruesome.
Yeah, it is gruesome. They're being burned alive from the inside out with carbon dioxide to the point where they struggle so violently that they rip their own feet and hooves off. I want to know why you're not vegan yet.
Because I am okay with eating animals, and I'm okay with doing that.
Lives.
Why aren't you anti-abortion?
So you care about these unborn babies.
I am answering every one of your question. I'm not going to continue talking to you if you don't answer mine. If you don't answer this next question, I'm walking away from you. What bothers you more, a photo of this 22-week-old violently aborted person, or the pigs tearing their hooves off?
We are all animals.
Answer the question,
We
or
are
I'm
all
walking away
animals.
from you.
You can walk
Which one
away.
bothers you more?
We're all animals. I'm bothered by all suffering. I'm bothering
So
by...
why aren't you anti-abortion yet?
So I focus on animals because, like I told you earlier, everyone is participating.
You're not answering the question. I'm moving on to people who can answer.
The question.
Which one bothers you more? Which one bothers you more?
Well, the
She's asking about which one bothers more, but I can't get past the situation where she compared the animal and the baby feet. Oh, gross.
magnitude of what's
She didn't censor it. She didn't compare it to the concept of the reality that she compares animals and baby fetuses together and then tried to navigate toward black women and black people as a whole, which she thinks she's slick for. I can't get past that because she does see them all as equal, but only in the measure of fetuses being lesser and not a full human. But a perfect talking point to guilt trip women into doing what she wants in order to get more voter bases for the right-wing Republican side, but not to actually enact what she believes is caring for the child, which is the fetus that she claims is a child. It's again, it's all racially tied in this country. All the politics and all the concepts of respecting life is racially tied. I promise you, they're only there for the gotcha moments. They're only there to make you look bad. They're only there to look down on you. They're not there to have an actual scientific conversation. That's why a lot of these videos sometimes fall flat, because the other ones are more entertaining. They have more racial discussion. This one looks like a blind attack or fog of war, where they waited for a person who is naive in the concepts of what she's doing is moving the goalpost or changing the subject in order to make you think you're losing, but in reality she just keeps changing it over and over again.
happening to animals and it's affecting humans. Do you understand that 1 American is dying every 32 seconds on average from heart disease, a preventable and reversible condition?
So you care about humans dying, right? Is that a yes? Then what about these children? There are thousands of humans aborted every day.
Let's talk about the children under 5 years old. 8,000 of them dying of malnutrition, under 5 years old every day. Nothing to do with any wars, from starvation. And I'm confident that with all the abilities and capabilities that our species has, we should be able to import and export.
Thank you for your time.
I don't know why they're all going in. They may be going in for information.
She walked away right when it was getting good. She was talking about all life being respected after birth, which she can't talk about because her old talking point is not about the child, not about the fetus, not about your women's rights, but rather to talk about the Republicans' anti-social safety nets that they're trying to put up. She doesn't want to discuss it because she thinks it's just too logical and scientific that'll counter her argument, so she cuts that part out. But that would be the solution, is to care about all human life, and human life includes the people that are alive breathing, who speak English and do math as we speak now, and then they try to put this new concept onto it that certain stages of life should be respected but other certain stages shouldn't, which is really her just trying to gather the Republican voter base and nothing else. It's just a big petition saying vote for Republicans. Can I get if you're not voting for Republicans, can I make you look silly so I can use that as an advertisement why you shouldn't be a leftist or socialist? And then she uses that as a way to say, look how dumb you are, look how simple you are, look how none of you understand reality. And these are the people you support. And it's just to validate a lot of the Republican voter base and a lot of them who make fun of the left in order to cause this polarization effect that causes a lot of fighting, a lot of discourse, and a lot of no solution making, which is adding nonsense to the equation that usually has an end sum that makes sense, and adding random numbers that mean nothing, random variables that mean nothing, so that the equation that comes before it doesn't even have an actual purpose. It's just to buy time so that you look more and more unintelligent until you have to create an equation just to remove the nonsense they put into the equation you have to solve later. It's slowing down concepts of humanity, it's slowing down science, it's slowing down evolution itself.
Purposes.
What?
And
Well,
finding out their rights, finding out what they're allowed to do. So I don't know the outcome of that. So
Okay.
that would depend on what's happening.
Okay. Well, a woman that pregnant, she might be going in to seek information.
I mean, like I said,
Does it matter if she's seeking information to do that crazy stuff to her baby?
I mean, they can get the information and then make that decision if they're legally allowed to do it or not.
Should they be legally allowed to do that to their child?
Depends on the situation. That doesn't change my answer.
Should we ever be legally allowed to abuse an animal?
No.
So, no, we can't do it to animals, but sure as hell we can do it to people.
Like I said, it's affecting two people's lives, so it's a different situation. So if that woman's health is at risk over the baby, doesn't that change it?
No, we're not talking. No, it doesn't. We're not talking. We're not talking about.
If the mother could die if she has the baby, that doesn't change the
What
situation.
situation does that happen in?
There are health situations where
Like what?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to claim
not
to be
either.
something I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know enough to know there are situations where a mother's life is at risk if they continue the pregnancy.
So why
in
do
that
we have to?
situation,
Why do we
they're
have to
not-
go in and end their life first before caring for the mother? Why can't we try to save both lives?
Potentially you can't save both.
Not all the time.
Or potentially they're both not going to make it if you don't do something sooner.
Well, the point of the video here today was to see if I could get people to adhere to consistency. I'm not here to debate abortion, so that's not the point of the video. But so you've never seen those photos of an abortion?
Not like that graphic.
Yeah. It's
No.
sad, isn't it?
I'm a gay man, so I don't deal with that personally.
Oh, have you ever had a slave?
Have I ever had a slave? No.
Do you think slavery is wrong?
Yes, it's very wrong.
Well, you've never had a slave, and you're not black, so why would you? You're not going to deal with that as a white man, right?
I just don't have to deal with those personal decisions. That's something other
Like
people
slave
do.
owners have to deal with personal decisions of how many slaves to own. Like you're never going to do that, but you still care, and you think slavery is wrong. You should care
I do
about
care about the
humans
baby.
in this
I'm
country.
a teacher. I care about kids. That's what I do all the time.
Oh my. Oh my. You should care about them the second that they're conceived in their mother's womb because they are all children and they matter and they matter so much.
I do care. I don't want anyone to be aborted, but like I said, there's circumstances that require it that you don't want to admit to, but we're not debating.
If you could tell me.
I'm not a doctor. I mean, like I said, it's putting the woman's life at risk.
Oh, that's fine.
That's-
I mean, I
that's
don't.
what I'm
I would love to discuss that with you, but that's not the point of the video here today. So
what is the point of the video? I don't understand.
to show that people care more about animals than they do humans.
Okay, well, I don't want my video being anywhere then.
We are going to publish it.
Well, I didn't consent to that. I'm not consenting to this being published.
It will be published.
Ma'am, I didn't consent to that. Do I have you sign somewhere that I consented?
So we're in public.
Okay, but I don't want to be recorded for this.
So you don't.
I want this deleted.
Why?
Because you're trying to trick me into saying things that are not what I'm saying.
I just asked you to advocate for humans
Can you
in the
stop
same level.
recording?
No.
Okay, then I'm walking away.
That's all
Please
you have to
delete
do.
this and do not publish this.
We're
I
gonna
will record
publish
this. You cannot publish this. I do not want to.
So you're a teacher, right? You know what the First Amendment is, right? A teacher doesn't. What is he teaching his students? The First Amendment means that if you're in public, you might be recorded. And he talked to me for like 5 minutes, so that counts as consent.
10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes, even better. We doubled that.
See, their whole goal is to upset people. This is why I cover people like this. They're annoying. They're very filled with just trying to rage bait, trying to make people look silly for the Republican talking points. She's nothing but like a hitman for the Republican Party, and that's it, to make them look as bad as possible, to make them look like an inferior. She compared dead fetuses and animals to black women, and then thought she made like a really great talking point. This is the same woman who goes around without shame, constantly trying to agitate situations because the majority of people will never get an intellectual conversation with her. She's not there for intellectual discussion. She's there just to hear herself talk and then use that information to make other people who speak that way, who only want to hear themselves talk, and feel great about how they are feeling of whatever belief systems they have. It's a party of ignorance that she advocates for, and her entire ideology is just simply to make herself feel better. She is someone who reduces scientific discovery. She slows the concepts of problem solving. Her entire perspective is just to bully people, harass people. She had police called on her because she was harassing people in a lot of situations. And then she plays victim in order to get this more currency off the tokenism of saying that her tokenized Latino friend or her dead fetus is the same as a black woman is this ridiculous nonsense that she actually pretends to care about people of color, but she slanders and defames people of color by comparing them to animals and dead fetuses. She goes around and talks down on people that are feminist and pretends like she knows what she's talking about. She doesn't read any of these books. She doesn't read any philosophy. She doesn't understand political science as a whole. She doesn't understand what capitalism is other than make money. And then that's all these people know, really. Make money, make fun of people, and try to get voter bases for the right wing to prove that the right wing can make fun of people till they get angry. And then that's the proof that they're a superior intellectual being because they made people upset that they wouldn't have an actual intellectual conversation with philosophy, political science, the applications of sciences as a whole, mathematics, or even genetics as a beginning point at all whatsoever. She's there to validate the ignorance and tell you that it's okay to be ignorant because under the First Amendment, you have the right to be dumb. If you like what you're watching, don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe. I'm going to be doing more analysis on this. This was a hard one to get through. I wanted to stop halfway because she was just so simple. But I do this for the sake of the game so other people can understand that this entire concept that they do is just to put women down, to guilt people who are simple and emotionally stimulated before they can think logically or scientifically, so that when you realize that these people are a joke, you can address them appropriately, address how they don't want to have actual philosophical discussions or scientific ones, and so you can help protect yourself against a lot of these simpletons. Thank you for watching.